All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to hell.
Well, I don't know about that. Pretty close to it, but
I know.
you know,
It's like, oh my gosh, with these fires, it's crazy.
not the best way to start off 2025.
No, it isn't.
Oh my God. I thought we got rid of all that at the end of 2024.
It's just, you had the Thomas fire in Ventura, then you had the Camarillo fire. Now you have the Palisades and a whole bunch of other fires. I mean, it's getting scary.
Remember when fire season was only like in September, October, maybe November?
Yeah.
And now it's year round. It's nuts.
And it's it's to a point now where people aren't going to be able to get insured.
Yeah.
And if you do have insurance, it's going to be so outrageous you're not going to be able to afford to stay in your home.
That's which is happening to a lot of people right now. Yeah.
If you have a mortgage and they force you into insurance, it's like, what are you going to do? I mean, these insurance companies aren't going to be able to pay out on any of these claims.
Yeah.
And so it's a mess, and it's a horrible way to start 2025.
Yeah. Feel for all those people out there.
Yeah.
I really do. That's horrible what's going on right now.
Yeah. A friend of mine has some very dear friends that are out there. One guy was a stuntman, actually dressed up in his fire retardant suit with that cream they put on and took water from his pool. So, it's people are doing what they have to do to kind of protect. And James Wood was doing an interview, I think it was on CNN, and he was talking about everything he owns is now in this one little room because everything else is just gone.
Yeah, I think I saw a report where there was like 1,700 firefighters to basically fight 5 fires.
Yeah,
that's not a lot. That's why all these other resources from outside are coming in, but that's just not enough. You can't. I mean, I applaud all of them doing the best they can, but it's just overwhelming.
Oh yeah, and if you don't have water, you run out of water, which is what happened. It's like, and you have an ocean full.
Yeah, you would think that's but you saw what happened in Maui too. The same thing. It's right next to the ocean, and that whole area burned down too. So it's like, I don't know if we have the technology yet that we could just pour that out of there, figure out how to get that out of there for things like that.
Yeah.
But
the one thing that really bothers me about all this, I mean, so the fires create a tremendous amount of anxiety to begin with. And so last night, I'm getting all these people calling and saying, oh, hey, the castle's, burning, or it's that, it's going to burn down or whatever. So I go online and there's this article that says, literally, I quote, "The Magic Castle is burning." And so then you read the article and it shows a picture of the castle with this huge red glow behind it. And but then you read the article and it says that it's in jeopardy, it's at risk and all this kind of stuff. But then you look at another view and the fire is actually on the hillside. It's not even near. So granted, yes, embers can fall onto the castle and start the fire there.
Somewhat at risk still.
But it's still not it's still got quite a ways to go to be able to get to the castle, and it's got to go through a few other things to get there. And the quote was, and the article title literally was, "The Magic Castle is burning."
Yeah.
So why they try to sensationalize these disasters, and it's like, you know what? There's already enough anxiety. Yeah. You don't need to add to it. There's plenty there.
Yeah, but that sells articles, sells newspapers, or sells whatever they're selling.
Oh, I know.
And it's unfortunate that people are taking advantage of it.
I would drop that news source like a hot potato if.
I saw several things that the Hollywood sign with it's all burning behind it, and it's just like, whatever. It's unfortunate that people.
Anyways, our heart goes out to all the people with the fires, but that is not what we are going to be talking about today. We are going to be talking about positive things, good things.
We need some positive vibe.
Yes. And it is time to kick off 2025 right after this. I wasn't ready for it.
Rough Edge FM. Irritatingly irresistible internet radio at roughedgefm.com.
There's so much going on in your community that even in this age of information, it's tough to keep up. This show will help. It's all about what's new, what's happening, and what's out there. So if you're ready, sit back and listen up, Santa Paula.
All right, I still love that drone shot that I did of going over the clock tower with the SP.
Yeah,
That's a good shot.
It's a
That
good iconic shot.
was a money shot.
Yep.
So anyways, I've already satisfied my New Year's resolution.
And what was that?
My New Year's resolution was to gain 10 pounds. And
You achieved that one the
I
first.
got within a few days. So now the rest of the year, I'm going to try to figure out how to lose it. Isn't that crazy that you can gain 10 pounds in a matter of a few weeks?
Uh-huh.
And it takes months, if not years, to lose.
Takes about 10 months to lose it, and then you start back up again with Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
You know, there's a 2-month window there of, yeah.
Isn't that nuts? It's like, why can you put it on so fast, but you can't lose it?
Everything's so rich and high
Yeah.
calories and a lot of carbs. You're eating tons of carbs.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's hard to self-control in the holidays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Because food's so
Candy
good.
Hearts came out, and I devoured 2 bags of Candy Hearts
For Valentine's?
in one day. Yeah, the Valentine.
Yeah.
I love the Nico wafer kind of stuff, the Candy Hearts.
Wow.
And so I finished a bag in 2 days, and that was my final demise.
Wow.
So all that sugar.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're all affected by that too. So, you know, so you're not alone, okay?
Yeah.
You're not alone. So.
But anyway, so you know, one of the I was kind of looking at 2025, and I spent a lot of time where I would wait for things to happen. You know, the magic shop, you wait for people to come in and buy something, or you wait for somebody to go online. The shows, you know, you're waiting for people to buy tickets. And so there's so much in our life that I think we're waiting for somebody else to solve our problem. And so this year I've determined that I'm going to get. So I'm going to make a very public announcement right now.
Okay.
I want the Mason building that's downtown.
Okay.
And I'm going to get it.
Good for you.
So
Now we just got to figure out how to get it for you.
got to figure out how, but that's
Yeah.
the building I want, and that's what I'm going to get.
And that's a perfect location for what you're trying to do. It's on one end of the downtown footprint.
Yep.
It'll quadruple your space.
Yep. And it's right next to the Santa Paula Theater Center, so we can cooperate with things.
Good partnerships there.
Yep.
And it would be another iconic location in the downtown district to add to it within walking distance of
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah, because if we got a building like that, we would institute our music lessons again.
Mhm.
We would start dance class again.
Mhm.
We would probably start a martial arts class because our martial arts instructor lost his home when we had to move here.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of things that we would implement to bring, because our original vision was that we wanted a place to celebrate the arts where families could go.
Yeah.
So mom and dad are doing a dance class while
Mhm.
Junior's taking a music lesson, and you know,
Mhm.
Sally's taking a magic lesson, and and we'll have some escape rooms to help raise money for the interest. But it would be such a perfect place, and the way it looks on the inside, Josh and I were talking, we would almost make it kind of like a hair. Yeah, the Magic Castle has that castle kind of vibe to it with all the. We would make it like a kind of like a Harry Potter kind of ish, you know, where you walk in and it's not contemporary, it's not futuristic, but it's that kind of
Got the
medieval, maybe kind of
it's old school historic look to it and stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of possibilities with that building.
Yeah.
A lot. Yeah.
And so so I've always been looking for people to come to me to say, hey, let me help you. So I'm telling you right now, publicly, I'm getting that building.
Okay.
And if there's anybody that wants to jump on that bandwagon with us to help us succeed, great. But come hell or high water, I'm going to figure out how we get there.
So this time next year, we're going to be doing our show from your new
Yes,
facility.
there will be a studio in-house
Nice.
that we will have set up.
Yes. And, and, I know there's a lot of people in this community, including myself, that are willing to help you get to that goal.
Right.
So
And it's we were kind of talking about how some businesses don't really reach out to the community, and for Julie and I, it's always been about I was having a conversation over the holidays about how so many people have taken advantage of Julie and I, because we are very generous people. I have given people the last $100 out of my wallet because they needed it, and Julie would say, "Why'd you do that?" And I'd say, "Because I have a better opportunity of raising that $100 than they do."
Yeah.
And so even though I give it away, I have options that I can try to recoup that.
Mhm.
And that's kind of the way we've always been. But in the process, I had one family friend, they owe us about $30,000. We'll never see it. And boy, could we use it, and so I've done that a lot. And as a result, you get people who come in under the guise of, "Oh, we're here to help you." But in reality, they're looking out for their own self-interest first.
Correct. Yeah.
And so for Julie and I, we're kind of talking, we've always looked out for somebody else first and put us second. But this year, we're looking more towards, what? It's okay to have a relationship where it is equally beneficial to us as it is to them. And if we can partner in that way, where there's value to them just as much as there's value to us, then everybody wins.
And that's how you have to look at it. I mean, I'm guilty of the same thing too. I'll give, me, I
Oh,
give
yeah.
way more than I probably should, but I always look at the bigger picture.
Right.
But sometimes that's at your cost,
Yeah, but you're looking for the community.
Exactly. Yeah. And I've always been that way too.
Right. And I don't want to change that. I don't want to not be generous. But what you have to watch out for is, there's being generous to people that can't necessarily help themselves, and you're trying to help them. But then there's people that are solely looking at taking advantage of you in order to better their position.
And I think it's good that excuse me there. Your statement about going together, working together, and I think everybody should look at doing that for this year. Even with me personally and through our chamber too, it's like we want to partner with people. We want to go that journey together.
Right.
And that's hard. That's hard for a lot of people.
Yeah.
You have a lot of businesses in any community that they're looking out for themselves. I get that. And sometimes they don't want to take that risk and go along with people.
Right.
And so when we approach them, it's like they're always looking about for themselves. How do you get people to understand that working together, we can go farther with this?
Right.
That's always been
mutually beneficial.
That's always been a challenge for anybody in any organization, is how do you go to take that journey together? It's hard. It's hard.
When you take the approach of what's in it for me, there's so many opportunities that you miss out on.
Exactly.
And and so Julian, so for us, our vision was always about creating that center that is very much focused around community. We know we're never going to get rich at it. It's the foundation for a reason. And I've really, over the last few years, have really found to believe the impact that the arts has on individuals, just because of personal things that I've seen with people that have been dealing with disabilities and, mental issues and whatever, and getting them into magic or some other type of art form. The educational platform that we're using with Magic now, and teaching science and math and all that kind of stuff, it has such a greater impact on people than just the traditional education.
And there's a lack of focus on it sometimes. I think we're seeing that more and more.
Oh,
we talked.
First thing that gets cut.
Exactly, is the arts.
Yeah.
So I mean, I know in the county here, they're doing other things to help improve that. And there's been grants, as you've seen, there's been other things going on, but it's just not enough.
No, and sometimes I feel like it's hey, look at what we're doing. But in reality, they're doing so much more over on this side. Yeah. And so it's like, let's do a little something just to kind of appease. Because I I still don't think the government is fully convinced about the impact of the arts. It's still, everything still seems to be focused around sports.
And that's at the high level.
Yeah.
You're looking at that federal, state, and maybe at some county level there is
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
But and I don't know how much of that is like in our county, because we're a smaller county, and
Yeah.
and a lot of people that are in county positions are also involved within their communities and other positions too. So it's a little different dynamic, I think.
Yeah. And I think
larger
Ventura
community-
County, who is, what's the gentleman's name that is in charge of the,
for the County for the Arts, David.
yeah.
Yeah.
David,
Yeah. You should tell me.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that shows their commitment
Yeah.
to the arts, because he is truly invested in it.
Yeah. He's doing it the right way too.
Yeah.
He really is. Yeah.
And but you get so many other places, the school systems, it's like all the art programs are gone.
Yeah.
But boy, I'll tell you what, they got football.
Oh yeah, because that generates revenue.
Yeah.
And that's what keeps them going, because of how the funding comes through,
Yeah.
state and federal. And so, as I said, it starts at the top. It's where their priorities are.
Right.
And you see that a good example is the fires. I mean, we were talking earlier that where's the priority and what they need to get for resources, but yet again, they're giving money to outside of the country for other things.
Right.
So where's the priority? And it's always going to change from year to year.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, we can only control what we can control in our own communities. You know that. So,
Right.
So we're not going to get that big funding. We'll get some, but so how we always work on a shoestring budget, all of
Yeah.
us. So it's just figuring out how to maybe collaboratively work together to make this, happen. With you getting your building and building it up, that's great. And we can bring in other resources to help and help them grow. The theater center is a great one. You partner with them, makes both areas grow.
Yeah. Because they're one of the things that I know, talking with Jesse May, they're constantly looking, well, we want to do this class, but we got this going on and we don't have the room.
They don't have the capacity. Yeah.
So, they could come over and hold the class there. And
we have all the empty buildings, which is kind of mind boggling that, we were talking at a level with the city. It's like there's 10, 11 empty buildings downtown. And it's like, we could use those buildings for even a temporary level, to do certain things.
Right.
And it's just having that conversation with the owners, building owners, to see how we can do it, and it's a process. It takes time. But can you imagine if we had downtown completely full, and then not necessarily all businesses, but sources and different things that'll help bring people together. We got to start looking about that. I was on a call this morning with somebody in Minnesota, the mayor of Minnesota, of a town in Minnesota. And that's one thing they're doing. They're looking at all the empty buildings, how they partner to bring in stuff for the youth, and how to grow and bring in and stuff for parents and stuff, even if it's on a temporary basis. And she's like, we're trying to have these conversations at a certain level, just to start bringing people together,
Yeah.
And I know since the pandemic, it's been tough, and people still aren't to where the levels we were before. But maybe this year we can make a change. Maybe this year it's going to be different, and that's what, even through the chamber, we're evaluating everything we're doing right now. And, we'll be announcing other things soon as far as projects we're going to be doing for the year too. We're still involved with the Isabella project,
Right.
the youth, we're looking at some youth entrepreneurship stuff. We're looking at, we'll have an element of events too, which is cruise night and other things, the parade, that's something we're doing as well too. But we're looking at doing partnerships, not necessarily us taking it on ourselves, but working with organizations such as yourselves. We work with the Optimists a lot of times, but that's a way how we can help grow our community, is getting these other organizations involved and help grow as a
Right.
community. Because we were doing really well. I mean, it was starting to really take off before the pandemic, and then it kind of, as with everybody, it kind of sat there with the pandemic, and now we have to start getting it growing again.
Yeah. I mean, I think the pandemic changed
Mhm.
permanently a lot of things.
Yeah.
Like for the way we shop.
Yeah.
Amazon would not be Amazon today if it wasn't for the pandemic.
Oh yeah, exactly.
And a lot of these closures of the retail stores
Mhm.
probably wouldn't be where they are today if it wasn't for the pandemic.
Mhm.
And I think people's ability, especially young people who were developing during that time, their ability to be able to communicate and to those soft skills that we talk about were lost.
Yeah, there's a gap right there.
Yeah.
There's a gap. And it's not the kids' fault.
No.
They have sat for basically almost 2 years of in home doing nothing,
Right. Social media.
but that human interaction, and that.
So their interaction became social media.
Exactly.
And so now it's like that's where everybody goes to socialize, and it's such a disconnected process.
Yeah, I try and stay off of it as much as possible, but it has a major impact on what people do and think.
Yeah, business wise, you have no choice.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't do anything with it personally.
No, and then if you look at simple as even like TikTok for one of those platforms, and it's like people are going on doing recommendations, and that's what people are relying on. Remember before you used to use Yelp?
Yes,
that was like the go-to place, and now it's like you go to social media to find out, what's hot, what's the trend, or where to visit. People are doing all these reviews online, and it's just it's changed. Everything's changed, and it's
now we probably would have ultimately maybe have gotten there, but I think the pandemic made it happen like that.
Oh yeah, this is probably another 4 or 5 years away, but that's accelerated everything out of necessity.
Yeah.
A lot of things change out of necessity. So I mean, it's the world we live in now, but we just got to figure out how to adapt that to our own communities.
There are some good things that came out of it. Like, for example, I think the whole ability, for example, like what we're doing, the technology accelerated in order for people to do things virtually. And so, there's some good things that came out of it, because I think a lot of this virtual technology bringing the world together and making you feel like you're more engaged and more part of it is a good thing.
Yeah.
Even with shows. But
this podcast kind of came out of the end of pandemic and providing information for the community, and
the whole video part of it.
Video,
there were a lot of audio podcasts, but the whole video part of it really took a boom.
Yeah, and that's starting to do more video stuff out there. And and this year we're going to do some other video profiles and other things to help elevate, to get people back to engaging. So that's kind of what our year is going to be like. It's about engaging people, and what?
Let's make it official.
Okay.
The year of 2025 is the year of engagement.
Yep.
So 2025, the year of engagement at Santa Paula.
Yep. And one I heard this morning, and I thought it was great. Somebody asked about that. What is the year? Same thing. What is the year 2025? And they said balance. Because it's not all about work, it's about work-life balance.
Yes.
So
that's an important thing.
Take care of yourself as well.
Yeah.
Last year was a rough year for myself, health-wise too. Health, family, and the whole thing. A lot of us face that. You had that in your family as well too. A lot of people face that. And it's a mental strain on a lot of people. So I think what we need to do is everybody, even business owners, you need to take time for yourself too. Everybody needs to have a good balance. In order for us to all be effective, we have to have some sort of balance, and you have to have that downtime. I don't get nearly enough downtime. I mean,
I don't do that well.
Yeah. It's hard to sit and not look at your computer and not do something and just shut it down. I mean, I did that in October. I shut it down for a few days, and everything's still here, So, but you got to get that mindset that it's okay to turn it off, and other people around you need to understand that you have to give them an opportunity to recharge and reset. I've always told my staff and stuff, it's like, if you need days off to do things, do it, recharge, do your thing. Family's always first, and we got to keep that in perspective.
Yeah.
Your business is your business. It's survival. Yes, you got to do it, but you're not going to be effective if you've got things going on in your personal life.
Yeah.
And people have to be, I don't know, be sensitive to it, but be aware of it.
That's probably my biggest downfall, because I have people all the time that are going like, how on earth do you do everything that you're doing?
I get told that all the time too. Yeah.
And it's like, I don't take a break.
Yeah. We're all guilty of it.
I do video production. I'm doing websites. I'm doing marketing. I'm doing bookkeeping. I'm working on taxes. I do tax returns. We have I do magic lessons. I perform shows. We have the escape rooms, and so people are just like, "What? How do you do that?"
Yeah.
And it literally is. And you know what? I can tell you that it is not healthy because
In the long term, it's not.
no, because Julie does want our personal time,
Mhm.
and when we're together, a lot of times I tend to bring business into it, and she's like, "Can we just like not?"
You can't get away from it because of the social media aspect, because of the online aspect, because of this thing.
Yeah,
Your emails are always on here.
Yeah, this is
you
probably
know?
the biggest evil.
Yeah, and it's hard to turn that off or put it away for even a day.
And you know what? If you don't respond to a text message or an email, you get a phone call within a few hours saying, "Hey."
Yeah.
So even though people are like to step away, take a break, they're still expecting that immediate, "Hey, I texted you an hour ago. How come you haven't responded?"
I get that all the time through my emails or my texts and stuff. And there's a lot of times I can't email back right away, or whatever I got, I have to research before I answer that, because I could easily say, "Oh yeah, whatever." But then that's just another layer. Let me figure it out and do that. A text too. If they're asking you a question, you're not going to have an answer sometimes right away. And maybe you wait 3 or 4 hours and they're like, "Hello," or whatever they're texting.
Right.
It's like, I can't always do that, or you don't always have that with you, or you're in a meeting or whatever.
Yeah.
And
it's like, "I'm sorry, I'm doing something else right now. I can't."
People want that immediate action. And
Yeah.
I think we got to get better, including myself, at when I send something out or I text somebody or whatever, I shouldn't expect something right away.
Right.
They'll get to it when they get to it, because everybody's busy. Everybody's got things going on. It could be a day where you're having dinner with your family,
Yeah, or you're at Disneyland
or something
with enjoying the family, and you got your text going off.
And we're all guilty of it. Everybody's guilty of it.
I've gotten texts that are like, "Hello,
Yeah,
hello,
yeah,
hello, hello."
I know. I've seen that too. So I think everybody in general should just take a step back sometimes and just think about what's going on in that other person's life. You don't know what's happening in their lives,
Right.
and you got to be respectful of. I've always been respectful of other people's feelings and their lives too, and I don't expect a lot in return. And that's part of our guilt too, because we're doing so much and we don't expect a lot in return. But I always try and be as respectful as I can to other people's feelings and being sensitive to it and being aware of what's going on, around them too. Even you don't know their personal, but you have to understand what's surrounding that you are aware of and be sensitive to it. And a lot of people don't do that, within organizations, within their businesses, and it's just, I would hope that for 2025, everybody would just kind of take a deep breath and just,
the year of community. Or engagement, the year of engagement.
Because I think collectively, if we just all respect each other, we take it, we take things slow, we start working collaboratively. We've been there before. We have been there before, and it just, I think we lost it a little bit, and I think we can get it back for this year. And
so what we should do a show on. There's a method called GTD, getting things done. It's actually by the writer, and he's worldwide. And I'm losing the name. I'll have to look it up. But he was out of Ojai, and he travels all over the world doing these workshops on GTD.
Yeah.
So it's a concept. We ought to do a show dedicated just to that, because it talks about things like, your emails. When you go through your emails, you go through your emails first thing, and any email that you can respond to within like a minute, just a simple reply back, you do it immediately. Otherwise, the emails go into different buckets. Like, okay, I need to do something on the computer, or I need to, do some follow-up research, or I need to. So they go into these buckets, and then you don't go to your emails. You schedule a time when you're at your emails. You don't keep opening it, looking, because you're distracting you. You're working on a project, and all of a sudden you look over to your emails and you go, "Oh, So the emails are actually scheduled as to when you're gonna open it, and they talk about things like, you send me an email, and you say, "Oh, hey, here's the information you were looking for," and then I get it, and I say, "Oh, great, thanks a lot, I really appreciate it," and then you get it, and you say, "You're welcome." You know,
I know it's a waste of time too.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it really
You
is.
send the information, great, I got it. There's no need to respond with a a simple thing,
People
because
do
then
other text too.
it creates it just creates this
You're
back and forth.
one simple question turns into seven or eight texts back and forth. It's like, it might be 30 seconds out of your life, but it's still, that's 30 seconds out of your life, where
Right.
you could be doing something, or because then it gets stressful. Do I need to answer them? Do I need to do this? You're looking for an emoji. You're doing, it's like, really, and I'm trying to schedule my email time. Like I did it this morning, and I won't get back on my email for probably till later this evening.
Yep.
And I did that last night. I was on it early, and then I didn't touch it until it was like 8:00 last night when I got on there for. It's after hours, but I spent a few hours going through my emails and stuff and seeing what my day is going to be like and answering some things and stuff.
Right.
Where before I was guilty of doing it all day long and looking at my phone, and I'm trying to just kind of just schedule my time better.
Right.
Yeah. It's hard.
The first thing every morning that's what I do is I go through all the emails, and then I allocate the ones that I can't do right away. And but there's a couple of books that I've read on it, and plus I followed this guy's program. I took his class on G, but we ought to do a show just talking about what that concept is, and because it's we spend so much time in our head. And one of the things that this program does is, as soon as it's in your head, you either write it down, or what I do now is, Siri, hey Siri, set me a reminder to do, and now it's out of my head.
Yeah.
And when I'm driving from the home to here, and I go, oh shoot, what was it that I was thinking about in the car? Now I have it right here because I say it immediately when it gets into my head.
Yeah, I make notes on my phone when certain things come up, just so I'm like, okay, what was that? And I go back and I'll go refer to it.
Then you can forget about it. It's not like going, I'm gonna forget. Oh, what was
Well, we store so much information. How many times have you had that senior moment where you're like, what? Then all of a sudden, down the line, it popped into your head. It's like your mind's so full of stuff. And the processor gets a little slower as you get older. It just takes a while to get back up there. You didn't forget it. It's in there, but it just it takes a while.
Trying to figure out what folder you put it in.
Exactly. So, but
right, well, we are out of time. So 1 minute or less. What do we got going on?
Oh, look at people calling me already.
Yeah, you
do. Grand openings. We got 2 of them coming up this month. We got on the 17th, a week from Friday. Park 1055 is doing their official ribbon cutting ceremony. So they've been open about a month now, and
beautiful place,
fantastic food. Been getting great feedback from the public. So we're scheduling it for next Friday from 2 to 4 o'clock is the grand opening. We're gonna do the ribbon cutting probably about 2:15 or so, and we're gonna have some prizes. They're gonna have it's during happy hour, so there'll be some opportunity to get some specials there. They're going to do a few special things for everybody coming in. So that's from 2 to 4. And then after, have dinner there. I mean, why not, And then the following week on Thursday, we're going to have the grand reopening of the Collective Studio, the tattoo place. And that's at 963 Main Street. And that's right in downtown, right next to, if everybody knows, the old Tower Theater, between 10th Street and Ojai Street. And Mill Street. It's right in there. So we're going to do that at 3 o'clock. But it's a great place. They're just great people, and it's another great small business. They moved from a little farther down on Main Street. So we're going to have that at 3 o'clock. We have our business.
Does everybody get a free tattoo?
You could. You want to get a Listen Up Santa Paula tattoo? Get maybe a little neck tattoo there or something. There you go. You could tattoo Julie's name on your chest or something.
Like an ace or something.
There you go. That. Yeah. Okay. You could do something.
Yeah.
And then we do have our business roundtable the last Thursday of the month. It's 30th, and that's at 9 a.m. at the Glen Tavern. So, and we're looking at doing a business. Our chamber annual meeting. And that's still tentative for that following Friday. So we're still working on some details on that. There's another grand opening coming up in February, and we'll be announcing that soon. That's for the new Vet Tech Center at East Campus and the college. So that's coming up too. So there's a lot of good things happening there within our community, and there'll be this Friday, there is a food truck Friday at the Harvest. They're doing that as well. Sunday, they're doing a wellness market at the Harvest also. So the Harvest is doing some great work over there as well. So yeah, we're starting to ramp up. It's tough. Our farmers market is closed down for the season. We're going to look at restarting it.
Yolanda.
Yeah, so we're currently reviewing it. We're looking at making some changes and bringing some new exciting things, and that'll probably start back up in March. So we're currently evaluating it and working with our team there and seeing where we're going to go from there. So we've been fortunate; we haven't had the bad weather that we had last year. So it's people are still doing outdoor events, which is great. I know E&D is doing an event this Saturday in their place too. So if you go on their social media page, there's I think some line dancing that they're doing this weekend.
I think it's gonna be at 6:00 or something like that.
Yeah. So a lot of people are starting to do some events as we're ramping up again. So you can visit the SantaPaulaChamber.com website. The city's got a great new website. Please check that out. So SBCity.org. Sorry. Jesus. And then we have the Tourism Bureau, which is
heritagevalleyca.org.
Mm-hmm. And your website.
And then we have thomagic.org, and we have Ron Saylor going to be here tomorrow night for our Spellbound at the Table.
Yeah. How many shows did he do last year? He did quite a few last
year. He
did
did several with me last year.
Yeah. So it's good to see him coming back too. So so there's a lot of things happening again. We're all ramping up. We took like a 3 to 4 week break there during the holidays. And so now it's good to see our community starting to get back together again.
Yeah. So, all right. With that, stay safe, and let's say a few prayers for the people down in LA that are dealing with all those fires. And I mean, we've experienced it ourselves, so we know exactly what they're going through.
And it does affect our citizens here because a lot of our citizens commute to LA and stuff like that. Yeah. So it does affect a lot of our families here as well.
Yeah. So our heart goes out to them, and. Yeah, geez, I am not set up for anything.
We're missing our producer.
I know.
Yeah,
I've been here the last few times.
Yeah.
So with that, stay safe, and remember, the 2025 is the year of engagement.
This has been a Rough Edge Studios production.